Over the last 10 years, I have written thousands of cold email scripts and I reviewed thousands more. In this video, we're going to go through a 30 plus step checklist that you can use to bulletproof your cold email copy to ensure you get the best possible results. And if you stick around to the end, I'll even give you a link where you can save the spreadsheet for yourself. So let's get into it. All right, here on my screen, we have a 31 step checklist to go through with questions to ask yourself to make sure your cold emails are as good as they can possibly be. So we're going to go through each. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory. Others will actually look at examples, and others I'll go ahead and break down just over a few sentences. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, the first one, and this is up top for a reason, is if you were reading this as your prospect, would you actually consider answering? So many cold emails get sent out that look exactly like other cold emails. And I think a lot of people sending these either A, fail to ask themselves this question, or B, are ignorant to know the answer. Now, if it's B and you just don't know what others are sending, reach out to a prospect, offer them $100 to forward you all the cold emails they've gotten the last month. That is a great way to start. But if you don't have a reference, I get it, it's really hard. But if you do, you really need to be critical when writing your email and reviewing it. Would you actually answer it? Because I'll be honest, I've written some scripts and I've looked at them after and I'm like, man, I probably wouldn't answer that. Those are generally not worth burning your list. It's better to just restart, get it right, and actually send something that's going to ultimately get you leads and make you money. Number two is your audience segmented in a way that provides a relevant reason for reaching out? In all of our campaigns, we either have a logical or personal reason for reaching out. A personal example might be you're based in the same city, or you went to the same university, or you have the same accreditation. Or a logical reason might be you see their hiring position related to your service, or you see that they're running ads and you also run ads, or you see they're not running ads and the pitch is they should be running ads. We want to have a strong reason as to why we're reaching out, and having this helps a ton. I have other videos on my channel that go really in depth into strategy, but at a high level, you should have a strong reason or hook into why you're reaching out. Relevance not only increases performance, but it also increases natural engagement, which increases deliverability. The next one is, have you used spin tags? Have you gone through and had multiple variations to each sentence to have multiple sending variations? A spin text, if you don't know, would be instead of saying hi, I say hi, hey, how are you, how's it going? It's the same thing, but it just gives more variation, which looks more human and makes you have better deliverability. So you need to be using spin tags. In a similar fashion, did you check for spam keywords? We have our own spam checker. There's plenty of others. Go ahead, plug your cold email in it, and any words that are spammy, try your best to replace them. You're not going to replace 100%, but if you can replace 90 or 95%, that would be ideal. And if you are going to have some spam words because you just can't get around them, be aware other things need to be right because it's going to be harder to deliver into the primary inbox. The next one is, have you done your basics? Have you used first name, company name, maybe city, maybe state, maybe industry, maybe title, or any other merge fields that exist in your lead list? If you have merge fields in your lead list and you can use them tastefully, you certainly should. It does make a difference. So if you got them, use them. The next one is, are they formatted properly? I've seen this a million times where I get an email, it's like, hey, first name, and it wasn't formatted properly. Or it's just someone else's name, it's hey, Rodney. Or maybe it's a plural of a merge field like titles, but that breaks because different titles do or don't work in certain plural formats. So make sure it's formatted properly and will work with everybody in your lead list. If it's really complicated, just drop the plurals. The next one is, have you read your copy out loud and attempted to find run-on sentences, sentences that don't flow, or sentences that sound weird? I read all of my copy at least 2 to 3 times out loud, and if something just rolls off the tongue weird or doesn't feel right, I go ahead and replace it, and then I read it out loud again until it feels conversational. My goal here is to have my emails feel human and not awkward or robot-y. Number 9 is going to be, have you tried to remove as many filler or unnecessary words as possible? Now, you're probably not using on your cold emails, but you may be using words that you just look at it and you're like, I could just remove this. Because in general, our cold email should be as short as possible while still having everything relevant and necessary. So if we can remove 10, 15 filler words, great. Your email is now easier to read on mobile, and most people are going to be on mobile. The next one, in 2025, and really for the last few years, information is in overwhelm and trust is at an all-time low. And one of the ways around this is a personal brand. People will look up your company brand and they will look up your brand when getting a cold email. So have you leveraged your personal brand? If you have one, if you don't, well, you can't really do anything except start. And I definitely recommend you start with a personal brand. Get on some podcasts, get on some blogs, get on some agency directories or software directories, depending on your business, and start building a Googleable personal brand and brand for your company. The next one, and this may not apply if you're a brand new beginner, but if you're an established business, have you leveraged your case studies and third-party reviews? Third-party reviews means Google, Trustpilot, Yelp, Clutch, software advice, whatever is relevant in your industry. You want to be leveraging the heck out of these. Your email may look similar to competitors, but if you have a ton more social proof in them, you can still cut through the noise. On a similar note, are your accreditations mentioned? For example, I'm a Smart Lead partner, and I'm certainly going to mention that in my email signature because people know Smart Lead, and if Smart Lead has said, hey, I'm an accredited expert, it increases trust. So we don't want to have those big signature logos, but we do want to mention what tools we are accredited with. Now, if it's like 100, don't put 100, put the most relevant for your specific target market on a campaign level. Number 13 is to remove any links that aren't necessary. Now, sometimes I do use a link. I will link to my case study page and review page because we have over 100 and it's really impressive for a prospect. It helps us convert. And I'll also link to my YouTube channel because it builds a ton of trust. However, I'm willing to take a small deliverability hit to have those. Now, if I didn't have a link but I didn't think was necessary, I would remove it because links do damage deliverability. This one is especially important if English is not your first language, and if it's not, I totally understand that English is complicated. I can't speak Spanish very well, but you should be checking if your grammar is correct. Even if you are a first language English speaker, you should be checking, and if you are not, you should definitely be checking to make sure your grammar is correct. Now, you don't need to use Old English or ultra formal English, but we do want to make sure it at least looks intelligible. Number 15, are the titles in your list experiencing the pain or potentially interested in your solution? If not, you need to segment further. For example, if you are talking about the company losing profit, but you're targeting someone in HR, they probably don't care. That pain point is pretty far removed from them. We want to make sure that the pain points and the solutions tied to those pain points are relevant on a title level. So if we have a bunch of titles, let's segment them into categories. And if you're just starting and you haven't built a list, make sure to build a list with titles that all have commonalities that you can work into your script. And number 16, are the companies you're targeting reasonable given your experience and weight or social proof, your reputation as a company? If you are a brand new company, I'm not saying you can't close a Fortune 500 deal. I managed to close a Fortune 500 company at 19 when I was only a couple years in my business journey. That is not normal. Like realistically, you probably should be going after smaller companies if you're a new business. And if you've worked with dozens of Fortune 1000 companies, you probably can target Fortune 1000. So just make sure that you're being realistic in your target, unless you understand that, hey, these huge targets might result in a lead a quarter if you really can't weigh up to them. The next one is, have you focused your copy on one solution rather than multiple? Now, let's say you're a full service agency, you do SEO, web, Facebook ads, Google ads, TikTok ads, and content creation. Cool. That is way too much to focus in your email. Choose one, ideally the one that's the most in demand, or that is your most attractive offer tied to it, and push that. On a sales call, feel free to offer more things, but your cold email needs to be on one, and very occasionally you can do two services maximum. Next is your call to action easy to answer and clear? We don't want someone to have to fill out a long form and book a 1-hour call. We want something that's conversational and easy. Yes, I'm interested. Tell me more. Sure, let's talk. Really easy to answer and really clear. We don't want to have 5 questions in our email. We don't want to have no questions in our email. And we don't want to have a call to action that's asking way too much, unless we happen to have a brand that can command that, but you probably don't realistically. Number 19 is, do you have an unsubscribe option added? we do want to be compliant, we want to be ethical, we want to be polite, have an unsubscribe option. Number 20, is your copy as short as possible? Now, we're not trying to make it so short that we don't use our social proof, that we don't hit a pain point, that we don't explain our solution, but we want to have it as short as possible while still doing those things. I always like to look at my copy on my phone to see what it would look like in an email inbox, because realistically, probably about half of the people that open your email are going to be looking at it on mobile. Number 21, for deliverability and for split testing, do you have multiple variations of your copy? We normally start out with around 3 to 5 versions of email 1, and as we scale, sometimes we'll have as many as 30 or 40 versions of just email 1. This lets us do a bunch of testing, gather a bunch of data, and then also have tons of variety in our sending so we look like a human, not like a robot, and ultimately land in the primary inbox. 22, is your subject line either conversational or does it include first name? Idea for first name, question for first name. Your thoughts on this? We don't want to do something that's like a newsletter, 10 ways to save money in Q3, or something that is, a lead on. I got an email today that said 911, see this emergency. It's like, maybe I opened it, but I also hate you and I'm certainly not going to give you money. So make sure it's conversational, ethical, and it includes first name if possible. First name does perform better than company name. I have tested this extensively. Next, is your email being sent for a real person? Yes, I know so many of you guys want to choose some pretty AI girl. People see through this. It's 2025. People look up who you are. If they can't find a link, then they're probably not going to trust you. So send an email from a real person, please. Are you using case studies without NDAs? So many people like to say, we helped a business do this. Great, no one cares. You need to mention the name of that company, and ideally that company is related to your target market. Case studies with NDAs, meaning non-disclosure, meaning you can't use the company name, are virtually useless. And on that topic for 25, are the results in your case study specific? You can't say, we helped company name increase revenue. Okay, we want to say, we helped company name, who is at X revenue, increase by X% amount, in specific time frame, with specific mechanism, and maybe without pain point. We want it to be really specific and not just we increased revenue for a company. And yes, I do see that sometimes. 26, is the copy more about them than you? Your prospect does not care about you, at least yet. They care about them. We want to hardly ever use I, me, my, we. We want it to be all about them. I go for my copy and I try to use you more than I, way more. So make sure to review it and check that out. 27, did you remove any phrases or words your prospect may not understand? ROAS, well, what is ROAS? Return on ad spend. Loom, what is Loom? A pre-recorded video. We want to make sure that we're using language and lingo that our prospect understands. Why do politicians talk at a 6th grade level? Most people aren't that smart. And also, people are probably less techie than you think. So don't use a bunch of technical lingo that only you and your buddies understand, because your goal is for people to understand, not for you to feel smart, for them to understand and respond. 28, does the tone sound human and conversational, not corporate or templated? Now, this is mainly big companies. I see this. They're like, hey, let me put my corporate hat on and sound all compliant and like a robot. It doesn't work. You need to sound conversational. 29, have you removed any weird formatting? Bolds, italics, highlights. And I'm talking to you, Southeast Asia, when it comes to the weird colors. Like, seriously, normal email, no weird formatting. I love this. I live in Thailand part of the time, and Thai people love to send emojis and everything. It's like, let's not do weird formatting and prospecting, please. Number 30, have you removed all images unless it's like a core part of a campaign? If you're doing a personalized image or it's really relevant, I get it. It's going to hurt deliverability. Do your best. But if not, remove images, especially all those images I see in corporate signatures. Get rid of them. 31, are you testing pain points to see what actually resonates? Testing pain points is huge. It's one of the most important things to test. So make sure you're actually testing different pain points, because your solution might fix 4 or 5 things, but you don't know which one actually resonates the most. And then 32, if you have an offer, you don't need to have an offer necessarily, but if you have like a Alex Ramosi style offer, make sure it's clear in terms of what they get, what time frame, and if there is a risk reversal, make sure it's clear what that risk reversal is. And there you have it, 31 ways to make your cold emails better. Go ahead and grab your copy. It's right down there in the description. Leave any questions in the comments. And if you do want to work with me one-on-one to grow your business, there's a link below to growb2b.io where you can book a call directly with me to learn how we've helped over 100 students scale their business with outbound prospecting. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.